Hey everybody, this is Shane from Greenstone Services. I hope that everybody had a happy and healthy Christmas and New Year. Now that all that's over with, let's get on with it. A couple things to talk about. First off, 2017 in review. Let's go over the major issues that we had. The first thing that comes to mind for most everybody is, of course, WannaCry, but then there's WannaCry version 2.0, and there are other things that shouldn't be left out of this either, such as the crack attack. And don't forget about, of course, Talos and Cerberus and all those others. But there was also some other things that were kind of unique to 2017 in malware and in viruses, because viruses have kind of fallen the way of the wayside, kind of the same path, really. You've got the Internet of Things being turned into botnets. You've got POS type software that was corrupted by malware as well. And we have all kinds of new concerns going into 2018. Wireless devices using POS terminals to scan your card, if it's safe or not. And typically larger places will be safe. They'll have things in place for PCI compliancy where they're supposed to check their terminals to make sure that none of them have been messed with, the serial numbers match, and that there's been no alterations to those devices. And furthermore, most places as well as pharmacies will have instructions for their employees that if they notice somebody messing with a terminal that isn't necessarily purchasing something, to notify a manager. This is all things made for your safety, which is a great thing overall. Not to downplay viruses though, the Microsoft Office suite for 2013 and 2016 and 360 all have a vulnerability that's been out there for many years. We can go way back too on this, back to about 98 really. Field moniker in Word that tells it that it wants to open another program or how to treat certain things. So instead of you actually seeing formulations of on this page and this over here from this page, all brought in together equals this, which is great for the end user, but fields is something that really hasn't been prominent for many a year, something that was out before macros, really. And because of the new vulnerabilities that has been found in the fields type commands, it's going to host for a whole new way of getting viruses to your machine. Now recently I made a video about how to open documents from Outlook even if they don't want to, especially if it's from somebody that you know and trust. And remember, I did caution in that video to make sure you scan those files if you disable the block from Outlook to Word and Excel. And that was the reason why I said that. I didn't know about the fields attack just yet. I suspected the reason why that those things had been put into place was Microsoft trying to prevent problems that were getting ready to come down the pipeline. Some of the bigger things, of course, had to do with ransomware or making money. And I've said it before, I've said it 100 times. Essentially, the whole reason why viruses and malware all get made, same thing with whenever spyware was a big deal, it's all monetary in nature, in that the guys and gals that are very smart that sit down and write these things, either for their national organization or for a company or for themselves, they all want to get that money. And what's the easiest way to get that money? By playing the human strings and trying to get you to open up your wallet for them. Something else that's become prevalent is crypto mining. And not in the way that you would probably think I would say. It has nothing to do with Bitcoin, has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is now there's this new malware. I want to use the word malware because that's essentially what it is. It's malicious in nature because it uses your computer and your processing power to mine out the little data chunks. It opens up in a drive-by site. Now these are going to be nefarious sites that this will happen with, so if you're going to Microsoft.com, etc., then you're not going to have this issue. But if you're going to Big Daddy Sexual Palace of Pleasure.com, just an example, then what will happen is there's this window that will open in your browser, either Explorer or Chrome or Firefox, and it gets hidden behind the clock, or you don't see it. But there's an easy way to find out if you've got it, because your machine all of a sudden will start to slow down, almost painfully so, because it clocks itself to about 60% to 80% usage of your computer. And the whole point of that is that as many people as they can get doing this, the more money they're going to make, because they're going to get that successful check with digital currency. And whenever they're in a team that has actually cracked or took care of something for those, then they get the money for it, and your machine and your electricity did the work for them. Monetary based. Now, how do you defeat something like that? It's kind of not hard, but kind of not easy too. Essentially, what you need to do is you need to right click on your taskbar and uncheck lock taskbar and then move it out of the way. And then you'll see this little box on the bottom side over here. And you'll have to actually open that window up all the way so you can get to the close. Otherwise, you'll never be able to get to it. And once you do close it, you'll see that your machine suddenly goes from 60 to 80% utilization to 0, and you're good to go, and don't go back to previous said website. Now, moving on. Things to look forward to. What's getting ready to happen in the world of technology? Well, Google has a new operating system, and it's kind of been a pipeline dream for a long time for Google to have their own operating system on things that would unify stuff in a way, so their Chromebooks and their Android phones and all this kind of a thing, they would all be running on the same kernel or the same operating system, much like Microsoft moved to it, which, God, that was a hated move on their part because they didn't think it out. They didn't implement it very well at all. The hope in the pipe dream that's been from Android is that they will eventually release it. And it seems like now there is chatter about these updates being on Pixelbooks, which is quite cool because that means that they're getting closer. They wouldn't be testing it if it wasn't viable. What was my favorite antiviruses of 2017? Well, I'm not going to say that I'm a die-hard fanboy of Avast because they have done some great things and they have done some pretty poopy things in the past, but whenever it comes to just system reliability, that nice comfort zone of it's not taking up too much of my resources, but it is doing a fairly good job. Avast has certainly been my favorite this year. Again, I did try out others. Just to be fair, I did use Kaspersky for a short time, and it seemed like as soon as I installed it, then all the information and news came out about Kaspersky possibly spying on people in the United States. So off that went, and my trial that I was using to see what I thought of the new version is moot, because if the Russian state's using that to get into our stuff or to steal documents from senators, I don't think that's really something I want to be a part of. AVG was purchased by Avast, so even though they're the same parent company that owns them, they have made some dramatic changes since that merger whenever it comes to their graphics, their interface, and the way that it's used. It is quite the behemoth though still, in that it wants to do everything, and it seems to be that overbearing nanny that you just can't quite get rid of, hence preventing you from using actual good programs. These like Norton's Symantec Endpoint for Enterprise didn't seem to have a same issue with that, and the same thing with Avast for Business Endpoint. It didn't have those issues either. My top is going to be Avast, Symantec Endpoint, followed very loosely by AVG. As far as malware remover, I'm a tried and true believer in Malwarebytes. It's an excellent program. I've been using it for nearly 8 years now. And whenever it comes to customers, I always encourage them to purchase it if they like what it's doing for them. The thing is it does such a great job. Most of the time, you don't even know it's doing anything, which that's cool. Something else that's overlooked and people really don't ever think about is a little program by the name of Spyware Blaster. Sounds completely fake, right? No. It's actually a very valid program. What it does is it makes this list in your host file saying, these sites are bad, okay? Don't go here. So if you actually get redirected by one of these known bad sites that installs either malware on the fly or is probably a site that has viruses in it or something known to do bad things to computers, whenever your computer goes to that website, your host file goes, oh, well, nope, I think this is bad, and then it just doesn't load, which is great. It's a great little option. It's not a program that runs on your computer all the time. Beyond those flash headlines that came out with WannaCry, the person that stopped WannaCry being arrested at DEF CON, some things that the United States government have released about the South Korea, North Korea dilemma, and North Korea being the one responsible for WannaCry, and net neutrality going the way of the wayside, which I've already seen the benefits of that. My God, haven't I? If anybody else has got DirecTV or HBO Go or HBO Now or any of these streaming services, tell me about your experiences since that vote. I can also tell you that on my phones, I have multiple lines for cell phones. On the data side of those phones, that's gone to pot. So thank you, Ajit Pai, for being the internet troll of 2017. I guess that just about does it for 2017. It was a fantastic year. Beyond those little scary things that happened here and there, I learned a lot during the year thanks to you guys. I learned a lot thanks to my customers. Now, if you happen to see anything halfway interesting in this video, make sure that you gently massage that subscribe button. Click that like and share, because after all, sharing is caring, and it actually does do something. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that 2018 is a great year for everybody. Let's just see where we go. This has been Shane from Greenstone Services, and you guys have a great day.